So we are live on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I cannot see you yet. Let me see if now it's working. Sometimes Instagram is quite challenging. Let's see if today is going well. Muito bem, para quem nos está a ouvir, muito boa tarde. Agradecer a todos estarem aqui conosco neste direto sobre liberdade financeira através do imobiliário. I want to thank also Michael Huber, who is our guest. We are still waiting that he came to the Instagram, because I cannot see you yet, Mike. I already accepted your invitation, your invitation, sorry, but I cannot see you. Sometimes we have some problems with the Instagram. I hope today is going well, but if you can ask again to be part of the live, please, Mike. So in the meanwhile, when we are waiting, we want to remember you that we still have these free classes, these 3 classes of real estate sales, and we are going to share just right now here on Facebook and LinkedIn, and by the end of the session we are going to share also on Instagram the link where you can see the classes, the free classes of real estate. So you just have to fill up this this formulate, and you have access to the classes. Mike, can you see me on Instagram?
Yeah, my message shows that I've already requested. I'm Dakota MHH. Do you see that? Dakota MHH.
Yes, I already saw you and I accepted, but I cannot see you here. I don't know why. Quem nos está a ver, Iris, Dakota, you are here, but you have to try to ask again to be part of the live, please. Mike, can you see that Blissa is already on live?
Yeah, I see Lillian.
Maybe it's not working. It's okay. So, para quem nos está a ver no Instagram, eu vou pedir que vão por favor para o Facebook e para o LinkedIn, porque não estamos a conseguir entrar em direto no Instagram, ok? Por favor, não está a funcionar aqui. Portanto, vejam no Facebook, YouTube ou no LinkedIn. Pedimos desculpa, mas de vez em quando não funciona aqui o Instagram. Okay, Mike, let's just I just finished with the live in Instagram, so let's move on. We are going to stay only here in with the StreamYard in Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Okay.
Okay.
So our guest today is Michael Huber. Thank you so much, Michael, to be here. Before we start our live and the questions that I have to you to speak about the topic of today, how to achieve financial freedom with the real estate, you want to introduce yourself and speak a little bit about you?
Sure. Michael Huber. I am from the United States. South Dakota is the state that I'm from. It's in between Chicago and Denver, so it's often called flyover country. Is where I'm from. And my family ran a small restaurant business as a child. I was an accountant, implemented accounting systems. Excuse me, in many companies. Then I was a controller, accountant, and I did all that for about 20 years. And then in 2014, I became a financial advisor. So for the last approximately 10 years, I've been managing individuals' finances and then helping them achieve financial independence.
Very good. And now you are living in Portugal. How long have you been here, living here?
So about 1 year here in Lisbon.
1 year. And did you already buy the house here?
No.
Not yet.
Just renting. Yeah, just renting. Yeah.
But you are looking for a house right now, yes?
I've done some looking and kind of I'm just starting to understand the market, I think. It's a big
Very
market.
good. It's a big market. Very good. So you already know a little bit about our reality, let's say, and what you do now is to help people to achieve financial freedom, right? And through real estate is one way to achieve real financial freedom. So I want to ask you, first of all, what is for you financial freedom? How do you define financial freedom? And in general, how can we achieve this financial freedom through the real estate?
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's up to each individual what I call financial independence, financial freedom. I think it's the same terminology, but each person it's different. In general, one of the most basic ways of looking at it is taking your total wealth, and if you have that invested at anything over, let's say, 5 or 6% return, then you can take out 4% per year, and you could basically have financial independence. So in one case would be, if you have $1 million invested, you take out 4% per year, that would be $40,000 per year. If you can live on $40,000 per year, then you would be considered in some ways financially independent. That's kind of the simple way of explaining it. My wife and I achieved financial independence about 3 or 4 years ago, and we can live off of our money that we currently have invested. We invest in a portion of ours is real estate. Some of ours is in investments in the U.S. stock market, and then also a little in my business. So with real estate, I think one of the advantages of real estate is we all need a home to live in, and so that is a good initial investment, and also then it can be a big portion of people's investments, because one can have a home, a more inexpensive home, fix that up, and then change that and sell that for more of a return. Also, a big thing that a lot of people do is they may buy what we in the U.S. call it a duplex. I know here a duplex is different. A duplex
this
here
is quite different, yes.
Right. But in the U.S., we call it a duplex, where you own 2 homes and you rent one out, and then you live in the other one. So
it's a way that you can save money, because in America it's quite normal, but not here. Here we have to find maybe other ways to to make this math, let's say, because usually in the United States you have a duplex, you can rent part of the duplex and you live in the other part of duplex, so you can save money, and maybe you can in 1 or 2 years you can buy another duplex with the money that you saved, and you can grow and grow. Here is not that usual that people buy duplex, but there is other ways, right?
Right. Yeah. If you can find something that even if you have a larger home, that's become very common here in Portugal and Lisbon, especially, where people rent a room out, and a lot of students will rent rooms. You can have a different area of your home that could be considered a duplex in U.S. terms. If you have a self-sustainable area in your home that has a kitchen that someone else can use, and they have a room and they own bathroom.
I don't know how they say, Mike. I don't know how they say in English, but here it's also quite usual that you have a small house. You have a house, and then you maybe have, we say anexo. I don't know how they say in English.
Guest house.
It's not a guest house. It's a kind of, but it's even worse. If you want to know. And maybe they can also use this, or start with a smaller, or instead of rent some part of the house, they also can start with a very small flat or property with like a T0, T1, T2, right?
Right. But I do think one of the most popular things that, and I see many people doing it in Lisbon, is just to buy a home that needs rehabilitation, and then you do a lot of the work yourself. That's, and then you flip. And I don't know if you use that term there here, but that's a very common term in the U.S. Where a lot of young couples will pursue in flipping, and there can be some dangers in that. I just was speaking with a person I used to work with, and he went in the progress of flipping. He flipped 4 or 5 homes, and then they built a home that was still beyond their means. And then we had the financial crisis of 2008, and he ended up having to sell that house at less. So I still think, you want to be within your means in flipping a home. Don't go beyond your means is always kind of a good standard.
Can you hear me, Mike? I think the connection is not very good.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Now it's better. Could you please repeat, because the connection was not that good before?
Just the flipping of homes, I think, is a very, very common and can be a very good practice. I just suggest stay within your means.
Yeah. Very good. So, what do you think for you? What are the basics of real estate investment? What we have to know, which formula do we have to use? Let's say I want to buy, I have some money, I saved some money, and I have $500,000 to invest, and I want to invest in real estate, and I want to get at least, let's say, 6% yield.
Mm-hmm.
How can I calculate this? How can I do the math? You want to help our...
Right. Well, the big thing is with real estate, there are the different types of costs. First, there's the cost. If you were to invest, if you had 500 of your own, then of course there's no mortgage interest, so you don't have to worry about that. But you do have to worry about insurance and any of your expenses to maintain the home. And then the third thing is the type of tax if you're renting that out. And I know in Lisbon and in Portugal, it's different. If you're doing a short-term rental, the tax is different versus a long-term. So you need to determine the tax. And then at the end, after you take out all of these expenses, then you have, what is your rental return? Now,
The
that's
net,
just a
the net.
portion of the return because, right, yeah, their net amount, that's just a portion of the return because the property is also increasing in value. And I don't know the exact number in Portugal, but I think maybe last year it was at 12% return in increase in values.
Okay, I'm not sure
Did I
if
cut off that?
people. Yes, it's quite hard, the connection. So anyway, we have to find how much money we are going to receive from the rental that we have. We have to understand that and this has to do with the location, with many things. So we have to understand how much money we are going to spend with the property, how much money we are going to spend with all the expenses, as you said before, with insurance, maybe with condominium, taxes, that it depends on the deal, of course, and then understand how much can we charge for the rent, and understand that if this is a good deal or not, right?
Right.
Very good. So how can we build capital and equity through real estate?
Well, that in the first case, if you take $500,000 and buy a home, then you have 100% equity, and that is your capital. So that's you have 100% equity. Now, if you use a mortgage, and if you buy $1 million home in that case, then you have, if you're 500,000 and the bank has 500, so you have equity of 50%. So that is considered equity, or your fixed asset, your capital.
And how can we manage the risk? Because it maybe it depends also the type of person, the profile of the person. If they want to if we want to leverage very fast, maybe we ask for more credit, and the risk is also higher, right? If we don't feel like to take risks, maybe we ask for less money and the leverage is not that big. What is your advice here? There is the right thing to do, or it's just just depends on the person? What is your opinion here?
What? Yeah, I think it is a couple things. It is, what is your level of risk? Do you like taking more risk, or you are more risk averse, meaning you don't like risk? I think age is a big component. I'm 60 years old. When I was 20 years old, I was willing to take more risk because I have more time to gain more income. So I think age is a factor. And then I do believe a lot in diversifying and having your assets, your money invested in different things if you possibly can. So I have some invested in real estate, some invested in stocks, some invested in bonds, and some invested in my own business. And then we have our own home that we live in, which is real estate, but it's a different type of investment, your own home is, versus something that you'd be renting out.
And also, maybe also, you are talking about diversifying. Also, you can do it also in real estate. So you can have some long-term rentals, short-term rentals. Also here you can diversify a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, and you could do it in different areas. You could do it in different areas of Lisbon. You could do it in different areas of Portugal, and you could do it internationally.
Yeah, you can invest in commercial, or you can invest in properties, or
Right.
and also you have stock market for real estate if you want to, if you don't want to manage your properties, right? So there is a lot of options here.
Yeah, like the one that, and I'm invested in those types of investment online. That's REIT, REIT, REITs, Real
Yeah.
Estate Investment Trust. I'm also invested in the United States in what's in private equity properties, and they're commercial properties that I've invested in.
Yeah.
So I have I have no worries of people paying rent or cleaning things.
You don't have to manage.
Correct.
Basically, you don't have to manage. So this has to be more with what kind of strategy. Maybe first we have to decide what kind of strategy do we want. If we want to manage our business, our investments, or if we only want to have some passive, how do you say, investments,
Yeah.
some passive
Yeah.
investments. Because if I have like some houses and I use for Airbnb, so maybe the management, we have the management is going to be much harder, but I'm going to get more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the long-term rental, maybe is not that tough for the person, right? What your experience here in Portugal? How do you see the investment here in real estate? What do you think about? Because you already lived in China,
Yeah.
Austria, wasn't it? Now you are in Portugal. Where did you live more?
Germany.
Germany.
Right.
And so you have these different realities, no, from other countries. What do you think about the real estate investment here in Portugal? Because for
Well,
people here, it's quite hard because things are going up, up, up. You have this perception also?
yeah, I see it. I mean, the rates of increase are extraordinary here. Really, they're very good. Some of the properties, they're getting, the values are getting extremely high, but there are opportunities like across the river, Barreiro, Alcachete.
Barreiro.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. Things are, the price per square meter that I found is much less over there, and you get a much bigger property, brand new, and sometimes in some cases brand new properties. It's pretty astonishing what I've seen over there. In Lisbon itself, they're very high values.
Can you hear me?
Pause for a second. Yes.
We are losing you a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. The brand new properties, maybe it's a little bit difficult to have a good return. Don't you think so?
It depends. I mean, it depends. I think one nice thing about a newer property is they offer more features. But yeah, it depends upon what your age, what kind of money you're looking to invest. I think for a younger person, yes, it's probably too expensive. A lot of cases for a newer property.
What do you think about the properties here in Portugal? Because
Yeah.
Because sometimes we are having some issues, no? Especially here in Lisbon, the houses, the ones that already have like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, there is quite it's a challenge, isn't it? Because many times people don't understand what they are buying, even investors. And there is a lots of investment that we have to make, and people maybe sometimes they start with this kind of investments and they don't understand that they are going to expend money to fix the house.
Right. I think getting an inspector is important.
Can you hear me?
Having some type of inspection. Yes.
And this is not that usually. For you, it's normal to have an inspection, but here is not that usually. Even to find a person to make this to do this inspection is not easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me well?
I found I can hear you perfectly. I found an American gentleman, Michael Cervantes, and he does inspections throughout Portugal.
Very well. So, Mike, what do you want to add? What do you think it's important for a person that is starting with the real estate investment? What do you think is the best way? What we have to know, and what advice do you give for people that is starting with this business here in Portugal, especially here in Lisbon and around Lisbon?
Yeah, I liked what you said about having a strategy, and I think that's the first thing that everyone should do is write out your strategy, how you want to invest. That should be the number one step. And that's what I do with all of my clients is I have them write out, what is your strategy? How much do you have total? How much total do you want to invest in real estate? What types of real estate? What kind of return do you want to get? How do you want to diversify? And what's your timeline? When do you plan to achieve financial independence? So I think writing out a strategy is, to me, always the number one thing. And you said it very clearly. Having a strategy is the most important thing.
You have to have the strategy, and then you have to do something about this, because sometimes people have the strategy but they don't do nothing, and people who does a lot of things and they don't have a strategy. So
Right.
let's say that we should combine these two things, right? I just remember that maybe it's also good to have a kind of power team around us, isn't it? Like a good accountant, maybe someone like you, like to help us with the strategy and all these kind of things. To have some legal help, maybe some real estate agency or real estate account manager, or how do you say in English, the real estate agent, a real estate agent, a handyman maybe to help us, because if we have one house, maybe it's quite easy to manage, but if we have 2 or 3 or 4, maybe we should have a property management. If we have more than 5 or 10 properties, actually we have just started with this service this year with the property management, because foreign people, they already ask us about this, and I think this is a kind of business that is not very developed here in Portugal, and is quite interesting. But Mike, you are here for during 1 year. I don't know if you already realized, but Portuguese people, they want to save as much as possible in this kind of service. If they can do by themselves, they are not going to pay for someone to help them. And sometimes it's not easy because we are not experts in every areas of the real estate. What do you think about this? Have you already felt this?
Well, I like what you said is even if you have if you build this team around you, you can still do it yourself, DIY, do it yourself to some degree, but there's going to be times when you need these people, and if you already have a relationship with all of these people, a nice relationship, you've gotten to know all these people, you're going to want to have an attorney look at things. You're going to want a real estate agent that knows what's happening in the market. You want to have, like you say, a handyman. Maybe that's your person to do your inspection for you, is a handyman even. They deal with all kinds of issues, so they could come in with you and ask them as you look at a property, what would you think of this? What do you think needs to be done? You can get estimates from them. So I think that's a great idea, and put that in your strategy, and when you build your strategy, put actions in there. This is how I want to invest. These are the people I want to meet, and then put dates. I want to start meeting these people this month, and by the end of the year, I have a relationship with all of these people. I've done a lot of the research on real estate on my own, and now I can start working with these people and also using my own information. It takes a lot of time, but I think you'll be much happier if you spend the time and when you spend the money wisely with people that you already know, rather than waiting till the last minute when you have a deal and then you go run and try to find an attorney. Then you're always going to be a little upset because you didn't have a relationship with them first.
Yeah. So it's good to balance, to think a little bit about this, to write it down maybe, and try to manage all. If it's how good is to have this person to help me or not. Right. Because maybe some key how can I say, some work, it has to be done by a person, but maybe some other kind of works maybe we can delegate, and we can leverage much more the business, not doing the things that we are not experts on.
Right. Yes.
Isn't it? And still speaking a little bit about strategy, do you think the strategy, it depends on our goal, just because we have the goal to become financial independent, or it has more to do about our life purpose?
Yeah, I think that you ask very good questions. I think that's one that, like, my wife and I have looked at, and I looked at a property that was nearby me that was a Airbnb property that had the license, the AL license, and we were getting pretty serious about it. And then as we thought about it more and more, I'm 60 years old, she's 56, and do we want to be managing Airbnbs? And how much money, I mean, with one Airbnb, is it going to be worth it? And as we looked at it, we decided, unless we want to have several of them, it really doesn't make sense for us to have an Airbnb. It was very appealing. He was dropping the price and offering a much, much lower price, and he really wanted to sell it. And so it seemed very inviting, but in the end, it's not what we want to do. But there are people that enjoy doing Airbnbs. There are people that then, like that person in particular, they had 15 of them. They have a company that they also manage properties. So it's a complete business for them. And so they're making money off of the Airbnbs. They're making money off of managing their properties and other properties. And they like that business. I'm not one that's been introduced into real estate until later in life. So it's not really my cup of tea, I guess you'd say.
It's not your taste. It's not your kind of taste.
No. Yeah.
Very good. So I think we already spoke about the main things about the investment. What do you think? Do you think we have something more to add in this session that we didn't speak?
I guess the biggest thing I think, I think is really making a plan. And one other thing that you talked about, what are your life goals? What's your why is a big thing. And there's this Japanese terminology, ikigai, ikigai, ikigai.
Ikigai.
Ikigai, yeah, and that I think that's a good exercise to go through. What is, what's my purpose? What do I want to do in my life? And I think you can do that at any age. The same with reading retirement books. What do I want to do? Do I want to retire and be at a beach somewhere, or do I want to be active in other ways, teaching? What do I want to do when I retire or when I reach financial independence? And then that helps you direct your strategy and put together your strategy. And then getting people around you. I like what you're talking about. That gets to that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think a lot of people are familiar with that book. Yeah. Having people around you that if you build this power team or friends, a network of people that do similar things that you do, so that you can ask them how they're doing, or you can mentor them, they can mentor you, but they're not pulling you back and saying, oh, don't do that. You're going to get in trouble with that. I mean, if you have it written out, you've really thought it out, and you have people that are doing these kinds of things, you can look, with good eyes and see, are they doing something too risky that I wouldn't do? Are they not taking enough risk that I would take that risk? And one other thing that two things I like adding into a strategic investment plan that we're talking about, having your strategy written out. Number one is, never invest more than 5% in a very risky asset. Now, real estate is not very risky, so I think you can invest more than 5% in real estate. But then,
what do you think is a very, very
risky? I think cryptocurrency is a very, very risky asset right now. And like these metals, gold, silver, those are things that can be a very stable, but they're not going to get you very good return possibly in a long run. So those I don't invest more than 10% of my money in things like that. But they can be, if you don't want return in the long term, maybe they are. The other thing that I like to look at, so I use that 5% rule a lot. And then the other rule I like to use is the 10-year rule. So if you are investing like in real estate, then is it something that you're going to hold on to for 10 years or more? Then you can actually pay a little more for it. But if you're gonna pay a big price for a property and you're only going to hold it for 5 years, then you're taking a big risk, because that property may be worth, maybe selling really well now, and in 5 years we could see some market change. But in 10 years, But in 10 years, you probably are going to do okay, even if you pay a little too much.
Yeah, because people usually think that real estate doesn't have any risks, but it has, and we saw it in a few years ago. And the only way that I know, maybe you know other ways, but how they say, the only way that I know to mitigate the risk in all investments is the long-term investments. Because if you buy something that is the price is very high now, and in 2 or 3 or 5 years time is going to be down, but if you don't look at them and you look at them in 20 years time, it's going to grow definitely.
Right.
But and you can stay with your heart like quiet, and you can sleep well. But if we invest in a long run, in the short run, it's quite hard. It's risky. Even with stock market, not just with the real estate, isn't it?
Right. Any investment that I try to look at a 10-year, everything I look at a 10-year window. Otherwise, just put it into the bank and then you're guaranteed a certain rate and you have government backing.
Yes, I will say that it's the difference between that we say here, that is the difference between an investor, a true investor, and speculator, right? The speculator is like playing with the market and the things, and we never know what is going to happen, and when we are going to die with the heart heart attack.
And I've had clients that they like to do some of that speculating, and I tell them do it with no more than 5% of your wealth. If you want to play, I call it play money. If you want to play, do it with 5%. And I had one client who invested a considerable amount in crypto, but he's a plastic surgeon in the United States. So he makes almost $1 million a year. So he lost 10,000 US dollars in crypto, but he's a millionaire every year.
Yeah,
so
he can.
It's not a big deal.
And he can try. And sometimes maybe if we have already money and we invest money in the long run, it's also okay to use maybe some money to leverage quickly some investment. But as you say before, only a small percentage, right? Not the majority. Very good, Mike. It was really good to speak with you. Thank you so much for being here. We are finishing. It's almost 1:20, so we speak a little bit much than usual, but the conversation was really, really good. If someone has any questions, just do it right now, or I know that many people is going to see this live afterwards, so you can always send a private message, or you can send us a message here in our social media, and we are going to answer you. Once again, I want to thank you to Michael Huber, which has a company that is Huber Wealth Strategies. So if you need someone to help with this kind of strategies, this is the right person. That I already know him, and I know how is his work, and I advise him. So before we leave, and before you, Mike, say goodbye to everyone, I just want to remember again that we are offering 3 free classes of real estate sales. You already have the link I believe, or my team is going to confirm about the link to have access to these classes, and don't miss the opportunity, because these will be available only for a limited time. And now, yes, Mike, I want to ask you if you want to say goodbye to everyone.
Thanks. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks. Enjoyed it.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here. The 16th of September is going to be the next live. That is not going to be the next Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be in 2 weeks' time. And thank you so much, and have a nice day.